Every guy who starts going to the gym asks himself the exact same question. How long is it going to take me to get jacked, build an aesthetic physique, look like my favorite fitness influencer or a movie star? And I was the exact same way when I was 14. I would research how much muscle I can build over time, how I can optimize every single aspect of my training. And I was looking at how long it took other people to build a good physique because I wanted to get to the end goal so bad, more than anything. The truth is, building a high status, respectable physique that is more attractive, people respect intuitively, and gets you all the leverage in the real world is a lot slower than you think. But it's also a lot faster than you probably think as well. There's lots of people that say, oh, I'll get jacked in 3 to 6 months. And there's a lot of people that have the complete opposite belief. They believe that you're never gonna be able to get jacked. They're black-pilled. Nope, don't even bother trying. It's all genetics and there's no point even giving it a shot. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, regardless of your genetics, regardless of your circumstances, how long it's most likely gonna take you to build a high status, jacked, aesthetic physique. The first thing you need to understand is in the first 6 months to 1 year, you are gonna see the most amount of change you have ever seen, not only in your physique, but also in your mind and the way you actually view yourself. This is called the newbie gains period. This is where you can gain 15 to 20 pounds of lean muscle tissue. However, in this first year, gaining 15 to 20 pounds from your baseline like you've never trained before, you're not gonna be super standout. You're not gonna have a crazy aesthetic physique that you post on Instagram and gets thousands of likes, but the way you view yourself, the self-confidence, the belief you're gonna have just by seeing that change and the new standards you're gonna have for your life are gonna be revolutionary in your quality of life on a daily basis. But also everyone around you is gonna perceive you completely differently. You want to enjoy this period as much as possible. You are never gonna see progress this fast. You're gonna be able to go in the gym and increase the weight 5 pounds every single time. And it really doesn't matter what you do, as long as, let's say, you're in a calorie surplus or a calorie deficit, depending on your goal, and you're training hard in the gym, you are gonna build muscle and lose fat if you're consistent. It is the ideal place to be for maximum enjoyment. You should be in this period just figuring things out. You don't need to be optimized. You don't need to be super anal about what you're doing. You should be going in there, finding what you enjoy and having the most amount of fun because you are literally getting dopamine and rewards every single time you go to the gym. The first year is really gonna solidify your potential. You're gonna start seeing the base of your physique, which muscle groups are your strongest, which ones are your weakest, and you're gonna see what your future self could possibly look like. But this is really only the foundation, and this is really important to understand. In year 2 to 3, now you're really gonna be coming into your own. Your physique is going to start looking jacked. To the average person, you look like you lift. As long as you maintain somewhat low body fat between 10 and 14%, people are gonna look at you like, oh, this guy works out a lot, he's strong, especially if you're training correctly. This is the point where gains start to slow down. You have to think about your progress year over year. If everything's, really dialed in, is basically halving. So in the first year, if you gain 20 pounds of muscle, in second year, you might gain 10. In the next year, you might gain 6, and so on as you go. But in this second and third year, you can build an amazing foundation. And this is when I noticed, personally for me, in my third year of training, where I looked like a different human being. The change is violent. You are going to look good with your clothes off. You're gonna look good in t-shirts, sweaters. It does not matter. You're gonna start building that shape, V-taper, and aesthetic physique that we all crave. But one of the biggest things and most important things you need to do in this period is stay lean. If you're not staying lean, you're not actually showing, first of all, yourself or the world how much progress you've actually made. It's very easy in the second and third year to bulk really hard, and I've made this mistake along the way as well. You bulk too hard, you're very fluffy most of the time. Number one, you're not seeing how much progress you're making, but you're also making yourself make less progress. When you're fatter, your hormones are off, you're actually producing more estrogen because testosterone converts more to estrogen the more adipose tissue or fat cells you have on your body, and overall it's a much less enjoyable experience. If you are lean, making progress in the gym, training extremely hard, and really focused on progressive overload and having a structured routine and diet, you're gonna build an amazing physique within this time. However, this is not gonna be a crazy standout movie star aesthetic physique you think it is. That really happens in the years after that. you have now built the foundation. You have a pretty good idea of how you're going to look in 5 to 10 years of training. However, you're not going to have the muscle maturity, density, and graininess of a physique. And that is built all over time. And this is post 3 years, 4, 5, 6 years. This is where your physique really becomes incredible. This is where it doesn't even matter if you're at 14, 15% body fat, you're still going to look really good. You're still going to have developed abs because your muscles are now big enough where they're pushing against the skin constantly. You've built that muscle maturity and density. You're extremely strong if you've been training correctly, and you're just going to have a different look. There's no other way to explain it other than you look harder, denser, and more muscular, even though your body weight could be the exact same. As I said, as the years go on, you start gaining less and less body weight. You could be in year 1, 170. In year 4, you could be 172, 175, but you will look 10, 15 pounds bigger just by how much denser your muscles are and the maturity. And that's why it's really important to always keep focusing on progressing. That is the goal, regardless, even if you're at your goal physique in terms of size and shape, you want to just keep hardening that muscle by progressing in the gym, getting stronger, focusing on the basics, and staying tight year round. But one of the best things about getting to this 4 or 5 year part, and I call this the Goldilocks zone. This is where you need to realize you going all in on the gym actually has very little upside. You've built the foundation, you have the shape, you have the aesthetics. You can now build muscle because you've been training hard. You know how to contract your muscles. You know how to get the most out of every single rep and really push yourself compared to year 1 or 6 months in. This is where you're refining your physique. But the truth is, you don't need to be as dialed in. You now have enough muscle on your body. Your metabolism is built up over time by being in calorie surpluses for a long time and being low body fat, where you can eat 80-20 off your diet. You can train a little bit less, 45 minutes, 3, 4 times a week, live a much more balanced life, and actually start leveraging that physique in the real world. And this is one of the most important things that took me way too long. It took me about 10 to 11 years to realize this. But once you built that foundation and now you're just refining the physique, it's time to take those habits, traits, characteristics, discipline, confidence, self-belief, and start placing them in other areas. Start building your legacy as a man. Start building a business, build better relationships, and take all those things that you got rid of in the beginning, lack of confidence, insecurity, and start working on the other areas of life and becoming whole, becoming multidimensional, the jacked renaissance man, I like to call it. And after this 4-year mark, this is where you really start commanding presence. People will immediately notice not only do you look like you work out and jacked, but you have a different aura about you. You walk in a room, your muscles are fully developed, you have great structure, you filled out your frame, and it looks like the muscle belongs to your body. It's looked like you've always had it, and that's the way you're supposed to look. And that is a really big difference between being in the year 1 to 2, where you're still building the physique, you have a lot of lagging muscle groups, and it just doesn't all fit together yet. The reality is a truly jacked physique takes 3 to 5 years. On average, if you are doing things mostly correctly. You don't have to be super optimized and doing everything to the finest detail in the newest scientific study, but if you are following the basics, doing progressive overload, staying lean most of the time, and not doing crazy bulks where you're gaining 40 pounds of fat, and then doing crazy diets where you're trying to lose all that afterwards, you're gonna have a jacked, elite tier 1% physique. Now you have to ask yourself, if you think that takes a long time, what is the alternative? You either have the road and the path where you start this journey, you get rewarded along the way in all the different phases, like year 1 where you're making crazy fast progress, tons of dopamine, you don't even have to be that dialed in, you're gonna see crazy results. And then going on to the 2 to 3 year where you're building the foundation, you're starting to really see your potential in the years after that where you're taking the traits, all the things you've learned across this journey and applying it to other areas. You either go down that path where you achieve your full potential and actually take on this task, or you say, oh, it's going to take too long and you don't even try. And then you wake up 1 to 2 years later and realize, oh my God, I need to make this decision. But now you feel like you're behind. You've already waited 1 to 2 years. The only option is to take the path of taking on this journey. It's only got upsides. There really is no downside to building a good physique. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to stop doing certain things that maybe you enjoy right now, drinking, partying, all of these things. But number one, it doesn't have to be forever. You can do everything in balance, but it's going to make you overall a more developed jacked Renaissance man as we talk about on this channel. And if you guys want to start this process, you want guidance, you want to know exactly what you need to do to expedite this process and make it as smooth as possible from someone that's done it himself and done it with hundreds of other people and help them not only build a physique, but lay the foundation, the confidence, the self-belief for success in all areas of their life, book a call with me down below. We'll talk about where you're currently at, where you're going, and how we can get you there together.